How to start, sir. Good evening. Welcome to Thursday live session with Cirrus. My name is Isuru Yapa. I've got Ashani Yapa right next to me as well. We'll be concentrating and talking about business visa a lot today, as we promised. So we'll be talking about 491 small business owner visa, targeting more towards Queensland as well. And we'll be talking about 188A visa, 188B visa, and 188 significant investor and other categories as well. There's a lot of questions everyone's got about which one is the right business visa, which one's which, and what skill sets, what's the background, when to start the business, am I overseas, and do I have to buy a business without even seeing what's going on? So we thought we'll discuss about 1889, 188 visas and also the 491 small business category. And with this, your engagement is vital. So if you have any questions, this is a very good time for you to discuss. Those who joining us every day, I just wanted to point out we are in the other side of the table today on our boardroom. So you get to see the immigration head office in Brisbane, Australia. So right behind us is the immigration office. Mm-hmm. So Ashani, do you want to talk a bit about what's? Let's start with 491 visa.
Yeah.
491 has got wide area, not just the business category. Let's have a bit of a chat about 491 business.
Before that, can I please share this exciting news about South Australia? I'm very excited.
She was meant to come back to you a little late, but
hi everyone. We are coming to you for another Thursday session from beautiful Brisbane. Welcome to our session. So we had this state conference, South Australia today. Very exciting news. South Australian business skill program is currently closed. The interim allocation, they are allocating positions and they are expecting for the full allocation. And according to Business and Skills South Australia, they're going to be opening their program full capacity early December. So early to mid-December, their program will open. And there are some other exciting programs that they're going to open for you this time around. They have a brand new website. You guys can go and check it out. They've made it quite easy and quite user-friendly as well, which explains all the new criteria and new visas. So when they reopen, looks like there's going to be a sort of 491 small business that they have for Queensland. Looks like they are going to open a program like that for South Australia.
Similar program to Queensland, because at the moment 491 was only available in Queensland, other than a similar but not exactly the same program in Tasmania, right?
That's right. So what South Australia said, if someone has studied in South Australia or a different state, and if they've opened their business and if they're creating jobs, there's going to be a category where they can apply for visas through. Possibly it's going to be another 491, and South Australian government will have to give you an invitation. But they were promoting this program quite a bit today. So it's going to be very exciting to see what are these new categories. What they mentioned is they're going to have a category like the normal categories that they had for graduates who are currently studying and who are graduating from South Australia, and who are working and living in regional South Australia. And they will have a program for international graduates. And they said the program I talked about, there's going to be a program for startups and small business. And also they're going to have talent and innovation program for high caliber people, not only working and living in South Australia, but even in other states who are interested in moving to South Australia. They will have opportunities. And they have mentioned some areas of skill shortages that they're going to focus on. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the list's going to look like. And if you are in South Australia or planning to move, I think this would be a good time to start talking to a migration agent to get your application in the system as soon as they open, so you can get ready. So that's the exciting news about South Australia.
And I know we got a few other things, and we are focusing on the business visas, but we can't ignore your questions. So quickly, as we'll touch base in other questions on the other areas as well. I can see Ashish saying hi from YouTube. Hi, Ashish.
Ashish asking, is there any...
Sharma is the next question.
What's happening with 194 offshore applicants unable to lodge EOI? So
Yes.
Even South Australia did mention that currently, unless your occupation's in critical sector and unless the states decide that, offshore applicants may not get an invitation this time around due to travel restrictions and offshore migration being cut off to certain levels. So that's probably what's happening with EOIs for 190, depending on your occupation.
And we got another question from Ashish again. Is there any update for 190 nominated by SA for RN, mental health specialty? I applied in December 2019 and still waiting for a grant. Any idea how much time it will take?
Okay. South Australia is normally pretty good with giving the EOIs. That is what they mentioned as well. I think, Ashish, maybe it is time that you get in touch with them and just do a bit of a follow-up as well. If you did apply that through a migration agent, that person can also get in touch with the department and find out how it's going.
Where it is at, because
right.
You're in a priority sector as well, being
given registered nurse. We can't comment too much because we don't know how many points you have, whether you're a graduate or whether you've been working. It really depends on all that as well.
Yeah.
But December 2019, I guess it's time that you chase up. If not, then when they reopen the program in December 2020, then they will have bigger allocations and people will have more opportunities with the bigger allocations.
And we've got a question from Olushui Olumila. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. What is the hope for offshore applicant as an electrical engineer? I have submitted an EOI. At the moment, offshore,
it's quite hard. Yeah.
So straight direct skill migration for offshore is going to be a very tough one. And New Quality Media, hi.
What about 188 and 132 business visa for other countries? So
we believe what you mean by other countries is you're currently offshore, and what's the 188 and 132 opportunities for you?
That's really good news. Not like the skilled migration. We can still apply for 188 and 132 visas. Most of the states are open for business visas. So get in touch with us. I'm happy to assess your profile and give you more personalized advice as well. So I know that Queensland State is currently accepting applications, but they're not granting until they get their full allocation. But most of the states will get their full allocations and open these programs by December or January. So if business visa is something that you're planning, then you can apply. And also some good news for business people who are wanting to apply for South Australia. Normally, before you can lodge an invitation EOI for South Australia, the business person has to come and visit South Australia within the last 12 months before they can lodge an EOI. Now they have a system where you can do this visit virtually. So if you're restricted by travel restriction and cannot get into Australia, or you can't get a visitor visa approved, then you do have this virtual visit before you can get your lodge your EOI. That's again really good news for people who are wanting to apply for business visas in South Australia.
And also another good news is your quota has been doubled this time after the pandemic and the financial budget announcement. The allocations for business visas has been doubled, and certain states, they even though they're not granting EOIs, they are already accepting EOIs. So Brisbane is one of them.
Queensland, they are
Queensland.
accepting EOIs even though they're not granting, but I'm pretty sure they will start their grant in December or January. So it is a good time. Business visa, it's not a visa that you can get ready in a week or two unless you're extremely organized to get a EOI lodge. It involves a big process of dealing with accountants and lawyers. So it is really good to start the process early, get your financials and valuations and everything together.
Understand
So
the
by
ownership,
exactly.
the time of the ownership, when, how did the asset been acquired, how long you had the asset.
So there's a whole process that you need to go through with your migration agent. So it's best that you start the process now. So when they reopen, when the states reopen with their full allocations, you are one of the first to get your EOI in.
Guys, really sorry today. There's so many questions
coming.
And we have YouTube happening this side and Facebook happening that side. So we'll get back to you.
To Facebook, right?
If we couldn't get through all the information now, we'll come back to you in the emails. We have a Facebook question from Bestin. We'll quickly run by 491 skill visa from New Zealand processing. In which country 491 skill visa from New Zealand? We don't understand.
Bestin, the question is not very clear. If you don't mind, please reword it and we'll try to answer it. Until then, we've got another one, Faizura Aini. The business visa are open to those who are not in Australia, is it?
Yes.
Yes, that is correct. And the reason being, even if you're granted a subclass 188 visa, you can enter Australia. You don't need a travel exemption. And yes, it is open. If you're not in Australia, if you're running a business or an investor, and if you're interested in applying for this visa, you can start this process now. You don't have to wait for borders to open or anything else to happen.
So I don't know where to start. I think EOI 132, we talked about it with New Media. I'm also offshore. That's fine.
Yes, new quality media. Even if you're offshore, it doesn't matter for business visa. We can start your process.
And then states opening. Anish George, we got a question from you about tentative dates on states opening.
So from our conversation today with South Australian government, they said they are still waiting on Home Affairs to give them quota. They're expecting that within the next week or two. So my prediction is the states will open either in December or January. That is what we are thinking.
So there'll be few states opening by the sound of it by early December. And some states might go back up. I believe Melbourne might be towards later part of December, early January, due to they had a bad month last month. A lot of most of the organizations been closed down. So Victoria authorities might come back to you by early January. So
I've got Mocha as hello guys, what's happening with 482 visa for offshore? Hello Mocha. Well, if you're someone who has an occupation in PMSOL, there are 17 occupations, your visa will still be processed with priority and you can enter Australia. But if you have an occupation in the normal occupation list, your visa can still be processed, but even though your visa is granted, you cannot enter Australia holding a subclass 482.
You just have to wait till the borders open.
Yeah, so let us know what your occupation is. Very interested to know. That way we can give you better advice.
Since we spoke about the PMSOL, PMSOL, Priority Migration Skill Occupation List, has priority skill occupations such as constructions, managing directors, and medical sector.
Yes, so there's IT professionals and many health professionals in there. There's CEO, corporate general manager, there's construction manager. So there's these really high caliber occupations are there, as well as IT and health. So I think we have published this list in our website as well. If you're interested, you can go in there and have a look. It's www.cirrus.com.au. You can see that and a lot of other information in there with regards to occupation lists. And we recently added a feature where you can go and do your own points calculation for business visa as well as skilled migration.
And
So
you
that'll
can
be
do
interesting.
book your appointment with us online as well.
Now we made it easier.
Marius done it a couple of days ago, so you can just go and pick your time, pick your date, and book it online through cirrus.com.au.
Alex has got a question. Hi, I'm onshore Adelaide and I submitted an EUI with 80 points in September, industrial engineer, which is a really good occupation. Any idea how could get an invitation? So Alex, you may get your invitation when they reopen in December. They did mention that they've exhausted their allocations, but they are still, so you can't lodge anymore EOIs, but then you can still get an invitation. So even if you don't get anything now, maybe when they reopen in December, you may have a chance. But they have mentioned, I don't know which category you fall under, whether you're Adelaide graduate or whether you're working in Adelaide. Depending on that, it'll be really good if you have 90 points, because they have mentioned in their website, if you have 90 points, you're going to get priority. But even if not, I think that your occupation is really good. Even they reopen, if your occupation is still there, you may have a chance to get the invite.
So Yondo Rajani, hi there. I lodged 189 EOI back in April after I graduated with civil engineering degree. I'm on a 485 temporary grad visa at the moment and wondering what's the chances. Am I on with 80 points right now?
For 189, 80 points may not be great. So do talk to a migration agent and please do keep a backup plan, because if you're on your 485, which is a temporary visa and it may be expiring, so if you just depend on your 189 and wait, I don't think that's a very clever move. My suggestion would be to talk to a migration agent and explore your other options as well.
Actually, that'll probably put us back into the track a little bit. We were to talk about 188 and 491 visas. So this is a good example, Yondo. When you have full-time work rights through a 485 visa, and if you have the full skill assessment, you are eligible to apply for 491 small business category in Queensland. So you pretty much have to buy a business, spending around $100,000.
Not much.
Well, considering you guys spend hundreds of thousands of dollars studying, and then it's not an expenditure, by the way, it's an investment. So as long as you buy a business, run it for 6 months, and employ an Australian for at least 20 hours a week, you're in a good pathway, guaranteed pathway to permanent residency. So it's one of the good options you have. There might be other options coming from other states. Right now, you have that ability as well. So don't depend on. Sometimes the clients come and ask the migration agents about, so what's my eligibility, or how do I finish my 491 or 188? I think the best thing is if you come and ask, this is my situation, what do you think is the good way, so we can explore other options.
Yeah, that's what a good migration agent would do anyway. We ask our clients, what is your end goal? Do you want PR or do you just want to stay here for a bit? And then we find a pathway for their end goal, rather than focusing on subclasses 189, 190, 491. We just find them a easiest and most cost-effective pathway for their ultimate goal.
All right, let's move on to the other one. We can't find where we left. Did we talk to Nisha Pillai?
Yes. So I think we have to go down.
No, up. We haven't gone there yet. Telling us about 485 time there, Yondo. So Kirtana's.
I'm a 40-year-old female. Can I study and apply PR with
MSc Biology
with 10 years of experience? I can't really comment on this. It's a very personalized question. So if I just, I would prefer more to look at your whole profile. Please email us a CV. You can email us reception@cirrus.com.au. That way, I will do a full assessment and I'll be able to give you better answers, because you're asking about PR. It's not something I can just
It's
look
not
at a
PR. I
question.
think she's asking about study and apply
No,
for
study
PR.
and apply for PR. Yeah. So
Yeah.
please do send us your CV. We have a process of assessing CVs with a questionnaire as well, and then we can give you a better answer and plan your pathway. Tilini is-
Kirtana
I think that's done. Tilini.
Tilini Silva, hi. I am. Any idea about 491 visa for offshore applicants to South Australia? Also, are they giving priority for onshore applicants?
Yes, Tilini, that is what they said. They said at the moment they're not inviting anyone from offshore. They're only inviting people who are living and preferably living and working in South Australia only. This is because of the COVID-19. They used to invite people from offshore, but I cannot see that happening in the next 6 months to a year. It's just for people who are onshore, which has the priority.
It's not the movie. Parami, you're asking a question about when is the state occupations going to be published. I think within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
That's
Most
what
of
we
the-
are hoping,
yeah.
different states. And New Quality Media, I'm very interested to get in touch with you. I can help you arrange the virtual tour as well as getting the invitation from South Australia, possibly. So do send us an email. And can we get in touch with people who are on YouTube? Send them an email. Yeah, we can.
So we're just talking to
sorry,
the,
I don't know.
back
I'm just
office?
asking the back office if we can get in touch with you. I don't know if we can do that. We will send you an email about how to get in touch with us.
So Nisha Pillai, registered nurse with 85 points in New South Wales on student visa. Any update about New South Wales? Can I still apply for SA or other states? SA is opening up a wider migration program, so it's not just limited to certain areas, not only limited to people who studied in South Australia. So depending on which category you're looking at, there might be openings for you as well.
Yeah, and also again, get in touch with us. I'm happy to have a look at your options and suggest you more options. Since you're living in New South Wales right now, maybe we can first look at the options in New South Wales and then look at other states if we think it's going to be tough.
Ashish, I've got a invitation for 190. Congratulations, you've done well. Application submitted, just
nice.
waiting for a grant from SA. Very good. Once you get the 190, you can apply for a travel exemption
You
and
don't
come
need
here.
to, because he's going to be a permanent resident. You don't need a travel exemption. You can come to Australia.
Yeah,
So
but
good luck.
next available flight. Yeah.
So Mocha replied, yeah, it's 482 offshore applicant, employer sponsored software engineer. It's a good occupation, software engineer. Even I think it's in PMSOL. So even if you get it granted, you should be able to come to Australia.
Elton Mendes, if
my occupation is food and beverage, I was restaurant manager. Can I apply for Australia?
If you're offshore,
hospitality is a little tricky field. If you're offshore right now, I think it's going to be quite tough unless you have a sponsor. So your industry is, as you can imagine, has a lot of people who has lost jobs currently, even in Australia. So it's going to be a little tricky.
Tricky unless you have extra qualifications and distinguished talent around there, where you can bring special skills to the country, and you have some sponsors who's looking for that sort of skills, then there'll be opportunities, especially in regional areas and regional hotels when they open up hotels and resorts.
I think let's I think we are running out of time, so let me recap about what we were actually going to talk today about business visas, and we will get back to you. Mario, people have sent questions. We can, okay, great. So I just got the confirmation from Mario. We can reply to your messages. Guys, everybody who has sent us a comment, in YouTube or Facebook, we will send you a personal message answering to your question. So let me talk about
The 491 business
491.
owner, and then we'll talk about 188 other categories as well.
Yeah. So I again want to highlight 491 small business owner that is only available currently in Tasmania and Queensland. But for that, you have to be living in Australia. You have to hold a visa with full-time work rights. A lot of people get it confused thinking if you're offshore, you can apply for 491. That is not the case. You have to be in Australia with full-time work rights, because one of the requirements is you have to purchase a business and you have to run it for 6 months. So for you to do that, you have to be currently living in Australia. That's only when you can get an invitation. So that is different. 491 small business owner is different from 188. If you're currently offshore, which means you're not in Australia, then your option similar to 491 small business is called subclass 188 business innovation and investment visa. There are very famous two categories, which is called subclass 188A, which is the innovation stream, and subclass 188B, which is the investor stream. So with innovation stream, you have to have previous business experience in order for you to get an invitation. Both of these visas are point-based visas. Minimum you need 65 points. Different states have different requirements and Home Affairs have different requirements. You need to meet both of these requirements in order for you to get an EOI. For example, Queensland has their own requirement. South Australia has their own requirements, and their requirement is you have to do a virtual tour and you have to have certain amount of assets. Applicant has to be under 55 years of age at the time of getting an invitation. So there are certain requirements you need to meet the points. Then the state will give you an invitation. For innovation stream, you have to either purchase an existing business or you have to start a business once your visa is granted. But for investor, you have to invest $1.5 million in Australian government treasury bonds.
For 4 years.
For 4 years. And you only need to do this once your visa is granted. Getting an invitation from the state is not a visa. So that allows you to lodge a visa. And if you're successful, then only you can you have to come to Australia and do all of this.
All these business visa categories are invitation only visas. That's where we talk about EOI, expression of interest. So you have to convince one of the states to give you an invitation to come and apply for the visa. Talking about a 491 before we move on to the other one, we'll give you some examples on what sort of backgrounds can join. So as Ashani mentioned, we need to have a full-time work rights. It's one of the priorities of this visa. And also you need to have a positive skill assessment. Having for you to have a full-time work rights, you can be in either 485 visa or 482 employee nominated visa, or you can even be in 188 visa categories with full-time as a partner or the main applicant. And then if you have the other categories ready, this might be a easy and a quicker pathway. So you may consider that too. And going into 188 categories, if you have the investment background, 188B is a very good category because there's no commitment. The risk is very minimum. You just have to come and
depending on the state, some states expect you to do a bit more investment apart from 1.5 million.
Yeah.
But some states, for example, they don't really expect you to do anything other than investing 1.5 million. So some of our clients prefer that rather than taking the risk of running a business. They would rather invest the 1.5 million, leave it there, because you do get an interest, very small interest as well.
Yeah.
So that sometimes help, and then you can come and settle here. Your children can go to government schools free of charge, depending on the state again. And I think most states do offer that. And then you can settle here and live in Australia for the 4 years. And after
within the 4 years, you're free to do whatever. You can either work, study, do another business, it's up to you, whatever you do.
Yeah.
You're getting a 188A. People get confused when, I think we had a question there as well, being
Okay.
overseas. How do I open up a business and tax file number and ABN, etc.?
Yes.
You don't have to do any of those when you apply for the business visa. You put your business plan through and come here with a plan, and then you have enough time to
So
do
that's
your
why
feasibilities and
once you get your visa, you get it for 4 years and 3 months. The reason is for you to come to Australia, test the waters, and then run your business. Because the requirement to apply for the permanent residency 888 is you need to run the business for 2 years, and you need to show the turnover for 12 months, $300,000. So that's why you are given 4 years and 3 months to fulfill the 2 years requirement. That's why you don't need to panic now. You don't need to start a business, do anything when you're offshore. Let the visa be granted, then you come to Australia and do what's necessary to be able to apply for permanent residency.
And getting into the businesses as well, there's many options available. You can establish your own business, or you can buy into another business as long as you have operating powers, and there's good guidelines. It's we would love to share all our knowledge with you, but unfortunately time's
Yes, I think
big
we
thing.
are running out of time, guys. So thank you so much once again sending us all these questions. We will promise to get back to you for each and every one of the questions if we couldn't do that, and we will pin our
Contact details to this
video. Get in touch with us. And we will come back to you live again next week, Thursday.
Next week, Thursday, the same time at 4 o'clock. And as we mentioned before, we started the YouTube in the same time, 4 o'clock. So you can either join us through Facebook or live in YouTube as well. And guys, next Tuesday, if you have any questions related to education sector, every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, we have a session just focusing on student visas and enrollments, and giving you hints and information about student visas. And we will always have one of the institutes joining us in our boardroom, explaining to you what special categories they have and how you can make up your mind and make up your study plan in Australia. So
all right,
once again, thank you very much for joining us, and it's so lovely to have you all here.
Week.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.